Howdy, my name is Emory, and as a future teacher in Texas, I know it's very important to be competent in diversity, so I'm really excited about this class. Um, I know it's very common for for Texas schools to be diverse. For example, College Station School District has students from over 100 countries, and this is similar to many other school districts in Texas and even around the world, so you can really expect it anywhere you go. I want to be able to relate to all of my students, no matter their background, ethnicity, or culture. I want them to feel safe in my classroom and comfortable, and I want them to be successful in the world as well. So I'm excited for this class to give me the tools to be able to help my students really excel and learn and just be awesome kids, no matter where they come from, no matter what they already know or don't already know. I am a little bit worried as this is an online class, and I know that keeping up with the coursework can be difficult when you're not attending class face to face. You know, it's nice to have a teacher reminding you, hey, you have an assignment due, hey, you have an assignment due. And while you might get emails, that voice in your head really sticks with you, I think. It's also difficult to connect with your classmates, and I know it's very helpful to connect with my peers, especially considering diversity. For example, I went to a school with 80 students in my graduating class, and it was a Catholic school, so if you think about it, a lot of the people really came from the same background. But I know there are so many other types of schools out there. There's schools with 2,000, 5,000, all kinds of class sizes and even specialized schools, and having these voices in our class and in our discussions really just helps you get to know what kind of school you might be teaching at or what to expect, especially if you went to like a small school and you plan to teach at a big school, which is kind of my route. My classmates would be different from me, and getting to know these people will really benefit me in the future. So hopefully, even though it's online and not face-to-face, I can still make a connection with some of the people in this class. So one big thing is my mom was an ESL pre-K teacher. And if you think about it, this is commonly one of the first times a student will be learning English if they are not speaking English in the home. I was able to go into her classroom after school, and it was called a tutoring program, but it was really just a after-school program where students in low-income families could actually stay until their parents were able to pick them up at around 5 o'clock. And I was able to go in and help her during this time. And I worked with students in very different backgrounds. I worked with students who could speak very well. I worked with students who didn't know a lick of English. I worked with students who had ADHD, all kinds of things through this after-school program, and it was really eye-opening to see so many people who were so different from me. This town that my mom worked at and that I went to school at after some time was the hub for special education, and therefore students from surrounding districts who needed specialized education would actually come to our town for school. Many of these students ended up in my mom's classroom, and I actually was in my mom's classroom 2 weeks at a time, about 4 or 5 times out of the year, because I went to a year-round school in pre-K, and so I had to go to her classroom. I never got a break. We got 2-week breaks in school, and I never got a break because I had to go to my mom's classroom because no one could watch me. So I actually spent time with all kinds of students who had different levels of functionality, some physically incapable but mentally capable, or vice versa. And I got to really know these students very well because I wasn't there necessarily for school. I was kind of like helping my mom out. And so I got to interact with these students in a different way than if I was just their peers. And the ability to help her in these diverse classes showed me how to differentiate instruction for any student. And I think that was awesome. It was a great experience, and I'm so glad I was able to go to those classes, even though I never got a real break. I also was able to work with those classes later on in that tutoring program, or with those students later on in that tutoring program, but there was just a little bit less diversity in that program because many of those students would go to the school that was specifically for specialized education, but my mom's class was an inclusion class, so that's why she sometimes had some students with specialized needs. I also worked at a daycare this past semester, and a few of the students were non-English speaking. And if you think about with such young students, we were already teaching every student new words in English, but many of the ESL students struggled greatly, and the teachers had to use different methods to help them understand. We relied more on gestures and pointing as the new students transitioned into learning how to communicate in a new language. So when I first got there, a little boy who spoke Chinese was also just getting to the school, and we instantly had a connection because I just made sure to always make eye contact with him and smile with him and speak slowly and all that kind of stuff, and that really helped him to feel comfortable, even though he had no idea what was going on. He didn't even understand why he was in daycare, let alone what everyone was saying and all that kind of stuff. So that was a really eye-opening experience, and getting to make a personal connection with specifically one student who was very different from me. And then that student always, when I came back, I was a sub, so I wasn't there all the time. When I came back, he remembered me because of that connection, and that will always stay with me. And that is just going to be so lasting in my life, because who knows, I may have made a difference. I may have made him more comfortable in daycare just because I showed him compassion and understanding and patience. And I think that's really important as a future teacher to understand and to be able to utilize. So, thank you.